Have you ever wondered why the most difficult moments in your life seem to be the most transformative? What if I told you that every crisis and challenge is actually an opportunity to evolve spiritually? What you're going through right now could be the key to the next level of your personal journey. In this video, we'll explore how challenges shape your soul and why facing them is essential for your inner growth. Are you ready to identify the signs of transformation in your daily life and understand how they can lead you to a new awakening? Stay with me until the end and discover how to unlock a fuller, more conscious life. Spiritual awakening is a deeply personal and transformative journey. Although the term is often used, it carries with it diverse meanings and interpretations. At its core, spiritual awakening is a process of awareness and connection to something greater than ourselves, whether it's the universe, nature, or a divine force. However, this process is often not a smooth one. In reality, it is through challenges, crises, and moments of pain that we are called to look inward and question our deepest beliefs. Most of us avoid pain and moments of crisis, seeking ways to escape discomfort. However, it is precisely during these difficult times that true awakening occurs. When we face hardships head-on, we are forced to reassess our values, reconsider the decisions we've made, and above all, deeply reflect on our true essence. These moments of crisis are not punishments, but disguised opportunities. They are springboards that propel us to a higher level of awareness and spiritual understanding. Have you ever wondered why, even in the most challenging situations, there is a sense that something greater is at play, as if, somehow, you are being guided toward an inevitable transformation? These painful experiences, which initially seem like obstacles, can actually be the greatest blessings of our lives. They shape us, mature us, and help us discover a new perspective on the world. In this video, we will explore how these moments of crisis are essential for your spiritual growth. We will see how pain, far from being an end, is merely the beginning of a new cycle of evolution. We will understand how to identify the signs of this transformation, both internal and external, and how you can use each challenge as a springboard for your personal evolution. The journey of awakening is not easy, but it is one of the most rewarding paths you can undertake. Throughout this video, you will discover that moments of crisis can be seen in a new light. If you're feeling lost or overwhelmed, know that you're on the right path. With each step of your journey, you are getting closer to a more enlightened version of yourself. Now let's move forward and see how these crises transform into powerful opportunities for growth. Spiritual challenges are an inevitable part of the growth process. Often our first reaction to a crisis is fear or resistance. However, when we begin to understand the true nature of these challenges, we start to see them differently. Instead of being victims of circumstances, we realize that we are being guided to a space of learning and transformation. These challenges, although often painful, are essential for our development. They arise not only to test us, but to teach us profound lessons about our essence. Whether it's a loss, a crisis of faith, an illness, or a troubled relationship, each of these events offers us an opportunity to confront our deepest fears and transcend internal limitations. What makes these challenges spiritually significant? They force a break from our comfort zone. When life challenges us, we are called to let go of old behavior patterns, limiting beliefs, and even outdated worldviews. As we overcome these obstacles, we begin to see life from a new perspective, broader and richer in meaning. However, understanding the importance of spiritual challenges does not mean that we should actively seek them out or rejoice in pain. The key lies in how we respond to them. If we see challenges as enemies, as something to be avoided at all costs, we will never learn to grow from them. But if we view them as teachers, as opportunities for growth, we will start to see life in a more enriching way. The nature of spiritual challenges is profound and transformative, and understanding this process is the first step in using difficult moments as tools for evolution. When we accept that challenges are necessary for our spiritual growth, we can begin to mentally prepare to face them with wisdom and courage. Pain is one of the greatest allies in the process of spiritual awakening, but it is also one of the most difficult emotions to accept. However, without it, our spiritual journey would be incomplete. When we talk about spiritual transformation, we rarely achieve deep growth without pain touching us in some way. Pain is not a punishment or a curse, but a tool that life uses to call us to reflection and self-improvement. In the material world, we are often conditioned to avoid pain at all costs. We seek immediate pleasure and happiness and often set aside any form of suffering. But on the spiritual path, pain serves an essential purpose. It pushes us out of our comfort zone and challenges us to face what we once ignored. It is in moments of pain that we are forced to question our beliefs, our identity, and our purpose. Without these questions, personal growth would be limited and spiritual evolution stagnant. Pain can manifest in many forms: loss, betrayal, failure, illness, or even internal conflicts. Whatever form it takes, pain leads us to a breaking point where we are forced to look inward and reflect on what truly matters in our lives. It teaches us to let go of what no longer serves us, to release what is unnecessary, and to make choices that are more aligned with our inner truth. Instead of seeing pain as something negative, it is important to begin seeing it as a message. Every painful moment carries a lesson, and if we are willing to listen, we can learn more about who we are, our fears, and our unexplored potential. Ultimately, pain takes us to the heart of our transformation, making us more conscious and more connected to our spiritual essence. Going through periods of pain and suffering may seem like a burden, but it is important to remember that in every crisis, there is an opportunity for renewal. Like the phoenix that rises from the ashes, we too have the ability to rebuild ourselves after each adversity, stronger, wiser, and more aligned with our life purpose. When we accept pain as an integral part of the journey, spiritual transformation becomes deeper and more meaningful. The process of spiritual transformation, though deep and personal, often manifests in subtle and visible ways in our daily lives. Throughout our journey, we may begin to notice internal and external signs that indicate we are undergoing a spiritual awakening. These signs can vary widely, such as an inexplicable sense of peace, a shift in the way we perceive the people around us, or even a profound reassessment of our values and beliefs. One of the first signs of spiritual transformation is a growing sense of discomfort with life as it is. Many of us, before going through a spiritual awakening, live automatically, seeking material success, social approval, and superficial happiness. However, as we begin to evolve spiritually, we become more aware that these goals are not enough to fulfill us. We start to feel that something is missing and that we need to seek something deeper, something that connects us with our true essence. This is the first sign that transformation is underway. Here's the translation. Moreover, the signs can be found in the changes that occur in our behavior and relationships. We may begin to notice that we are distancing ourselves from people and situations that once seemed attractive to us, because we now recognize that they do not contribute to our growth. Toxic relationships may lose their power, and superficial friendships may dissipate as we connect with people who are more aligned with our new values and purposes. Another important sign is the increase in intuition and inner clarity. As we align with our spiritual essence, we begin to trust more in our inner wisdom. The answers to our doubts and challenges start to emerge more clearly, and we become more sensitive to the messages from the universe. This heightened intuition may manifest in different ways, such as a feeling that we are making the right decision, or a sense that we are on the path we need to follow. External signs can also appear, such as synchronicities, seemingly impossible coincidences, or even vivid dreams that carry important messages. These events often surprise us and make us question reality in a deeper way, showing us that there are forces beyond what we can see or comprehend. These signs should not be ignored, as they are forms of communication that guide us on our spiritual path. However, identifying these signs requires an open mind and a receptive heart. Often, we are so focused on daily concerns or external expectations that we fail to notice the signs of transformation right in front of us. We need to slow down, pay attention to what is happening within and around us, and trust the process. The more aware we become of these messages, the easier it will be to navigate our spiritual journey. At the heart of spiritual transformation is the need to overcome the ego, that part of us that is deeply rooted in fear, the need for control, and the relentless pursuit of external validation. The ego limits us, prevents us from living our truth, and distances us from our deepest essence. Overcoming it doesn't mean erasing or eliminating it, but rather learning to act beyond its limitations, transcending the patterns of thought and behavior it imposes. The ego is a mental construct that is often based on our past experiences, limiting beliefs, and insecurities. It is constantly trying to convince us that we need to be more than we are, or that we must control everything around us in order to be accepted. Throughout the spiritual journey, the ego tries to maintain control, creating barriers to our personal and spiritual growth. Overcoming the ego is not an easy process, and it can involve significant challenges. Often the ego manifests in our daily lives in subtle ways, camouflaging itself as a need for approval, fear of failure, or desire for status. However, as we progress on the spiritual path, we begin to notice these patterns and understand that they no longer serve us. The first step in overcoming the ego is awareness, realizing when we are acting from it and questioning its intentions. Authenticity arises when we begin to act based on our true essence, without the masks the ego imposes on us. This requires courage, because being authentic in a world that often values appearances can be challenging. However, living authentically is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. Authenticity allows us to live according to our deepest values, without fear of judgment or rejection. A common example of this transition to authenticity occurs when we begin to say no to things we once accepted for convenience or fear of displeasing others. True spiritual freedom comes when we stop seeking approval from others and start living according to our own convictions. This can be seen in small choices, such as deciding not to attend a social event that doesn't resonate with our values, or in bigger choices, such as changing careers or ending a relationship that no longer aligns with our purpose. The journey to authenticity also involves detachment. We need to detach from the identities and beliefs that have been built over the years, often under external pressure, and start reconnecting with our original essence. This detachment can be painful because it involves the loss of old identities and the acceptance of the unknown. However, it is in this space of vulnerability and detachment that true transformation occurs. Overcoming the ego is not something that happens overnight. It is a continuous practice, a gradual process of self-discovery and acceptance. As we progress on this path, our worldview expands, and we begin to see life through a broader and more compassionate lens. At the end of this process, spiritual freedom comes from accepting who we are without the limitations imposed by the ego. One of the most challenging stages in the process of spiritual awakening is confronting our own fears and limitations. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we have, and often it governs our actions without us realizing it. Throughout our lives, we create internal limitations that prevent us from living our true potential. However, facing these fears and limitations is essential for our spiritual growth and the evolution of our soul. The fears we carry can vary greatly. Some may be linked to past experiences of pain or failure, while others may stem from insecurities we have developed over time. The fear of failure, rejection, losing control, or even change are just a few examples of how these fears can manifest in our everyday lives. In many cases, these fears can paralyze us, causing us to make decisions based on fear rather than trust or love. However, throughout the spiritual journey, we are invited to confront these fears directly. This does not mean that the fears will disappear immediately, but rather that we will begin to understand them in a new way. Instead of being controlled by them, we can start to see them as opportunities to learn and grow. When we face our fears, we discover that they do not have the power we once thought, and that often the situations we fear are much less threatening than they appear. One of the most powerful tools for overcoming fear is self-reflection. We need to look inward and ask ourselves, why am I afraid of this? What is the root of this fear? This questioning process is crucial to dismantling the limiting beliefs we have about ourselves and the world around us. By questioning ourselves, we begin to discover that many of the limitations we feel are constructs of our mind, not the objective reality. The practice of courage is another essential element in this process. Facing fears does not mean that they will completely disappear, but rather that we can act despite them. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to move forward, even when fear is present. Every time we take a courageous action, we are challenging our own comfort zone and expanding the possibilities for growth. This process of facing fears, even if gradually, creates a sense of personal power and brings us closer to our spiritual essence. Moreover, the process of overcoming personal limitations also involves detachment. We need to let go of the beliefs and behaviors that limit us. This can be challenging, as many of these limitations are built over many years, and our minds tend to resist change. However, spiritual awakening requires us to free ourselves from the chains of the past, and this is only possible when we begin to recognize that limitations do not define who we are. When we face our fears and limitations, our confidence grows, and we become better prepared to confront the challenges that arise in our path. Overcoming these fears allows us to embrace life with more freedom, courage, and authenticity, enabling us to live an experience more aligned with our inner truth. The moment we connect with our higher self is one of the most profound and transformative experiences in the spiritual awakening process. Throughout our journey, we are constantly called to transcend the limited version of ourselves and connect with a deeper, wiser, and more enlightened part of our essence. This encounter is the culmination of all inner work, where we realize that the true source of power, wisdom, and love resides within us. The higher self is the part of us that is beyond the egoic mind, physical limitations, and conditioned beliefs. It is our divine essence, the source of our intuition, wisdom, and deep understanding. When we connect with the higher self, we experience a sense of unity with the universe, an inner peace that transcends the highs and lows of daily life. It's as if our entire life begins to make sense, and all of our experiences, even the most difficult ones, fall into a greater pattern of growth and evolution. One of the most effective ways to connect with the higher self is through the practice of meditation. By silencing the mind and stepping away from external distractions, we create a space where we can hear our inner voice. Meditation allows us to access deeper layers of our consciousness, helping us dissolve the blockages and limitations that prevent us from living authentically. As we learn to silence the noise of the mind, we can hear the messages of our higher self, which often appear in the form of intuitions, insights, or even visions. In addition to meditation, the practice of introspection and self-reflection is also crucial in this process. Asking yourself, who am I really? Or, what is my purpose in this life? Are powerful questions that help us connect with our higher self. As we dive deeper into these questions, we begin to realize that our true identity is not in external things, such as our possessions, our achievements, or the approval of others, but in our inner essence, which is immutable and eternal. The encounter with the higher self also leads us to a deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. When we align with our true essence, we begin to perceive that everyone around us is connected, that everyone shares the same vital energy. This awareness of unity helps us cultivate feelings of compassion, love, and forgiveness, not only for ourselves but also for others. When we are in tune with our higher self, our ability to love unconditionally and offer help to others expands. One of the great transformations that occurs when we connect with our higher self is the clarity of purpose. Often we go through life feeling lost or disconnected, not knowing what our true purpose is. However, when we align with our deepest essence, our purpose reveals itself clearly and naturally. This purpose may be different for each person, but it generally involves living according to our deepest values and contributing to the collective well-being. By discovering and living according to our purpose, we feel a sense of fulfillment and inner peace that is incomparable. The process of connecting with the higher self also requires a willingness to let go of the old identities we have created throughout our lives. Often, these identities are tied to roles we play in our society, such as professional, partner, or friend, and can make us feel that we are fulfilling a purpose, when in reality, we are merely following external expectations. To connect with the higher self, we must shed these masks and embrace our true essence, which is free from all the limitations imposed by the outside world. Finally, the encounter with the higher self is an ongoing experience. It is not something that happens once, but rather a gradual process of deepening and growth. As we continue our spiritual journey, our connection with the higher self strengthens and deepens, providing us with greater peace, balance, and clarity. This connection becomes the foundation of our life, guiding us in all aspects of our existence, from everyday decisions to the great moments of transformation.